Broadcasting from the Merritt Hall Studios out of Carson City, Nevada. You're listening to Covering the Field with Big Richard Martin, Gator Gates, and Joe the Answer Ellison.
Welcome to Covering the Field. I'm Joe Ellison, and with me today is my incredible colleague, Big Richard Martin. Big Rich, East's first-round playoff series, has played at least 4 games in the National Basketball Association. Where do we currently stand as of Wednesday evening? Let's start in the Western Conference.
We'll start in the Western Conference, Joe, but let's start out with the 3-1 teams. How many? There's only been 13 times have a team been down 3-1 and came back and won in the NBA. So that's a 95.2% chance of winning if you are 3-1. So let's start with the Lakers.
Okay.
The 3-1. I know you want to start with Denver because they swept, but I'm going to start with the Lakers because I think this is probably one of the most exciting games to watch. Them and the Kings. They're very, very exciting. A lot of points scored, a lot of smack talk from Dylan Brooks. Calls out LeBron, says he's old and he is not going to respect him until he drops 40 on him. Why would you poke that man who is Dylan Brooks? Look at your jacket, for God's sake, son. You've not even a first team All-American in college. You were the Pac-10 or Pac-12 player of the year. We'll give you that. But LeBron is a proven champion, an Olympic champion, an MVP, and you're saying you're not going to respect him? Well, in game 4, you better respect him, buddy, because you called him old, but I'm going to call him bold and beautiful. What a game 4 it was. LeBron takes the last shot, and who does he drive by, Joe?
I would say Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks, the one who's not giving him any respect. And guess which way he went? Did he go right or left? He loves going right. And what did he do? He went right by him. And I couldn't believe it. It was a great shot at the end. And then it was a blocked shot. They had 0.8 seconds left. Memphis trying to sneak out a win. It was tied up at that point, and Anthony Davis smacks it. And I thought Jerry West came out and shot a 3/4 quarter shot, which was LeBron James, made it. That would have been great if that would have went. It wouldn't have been great because I gave the 4 points, so I would have lost by a point. I would not have been very happy with that, but I did get the 4 and I did cover it. LeBron is doing great. He had 22 points, 20 rebounds. So you do the math on that, Joe. That's 42. So can you get a little respect dropping 40 on Dylan Brooks?
Yeah, the 20 rebounds is probably a little more impressive. I don't think he's done that in a long time in a playoff game.
And he's had multiple games with multiple double rebounds, double, and he's had he had 2 triple doubles. No, he had 2 double doubles. I'm sorry. And then Anthony Davis has got a double with 19 points and 12 rebounds. And I think the best thing, LeBron taking those 2 charges from, Ja Morant. What are you thinking, Ja Morant? I mean, the only way you're going to get through LeBron is if you go over him. So you're not getting through. He got 2 charges. I mean, LeBron's just playing like the champion that he is and raising his game up, and it's just good to see. And Dylan Brooks, I think everybody in Memphis might want to go over there and give you a public caning for doing that. I couldn't believe it. So anyway, it's great to see the guy, call out a champion like that and then get smacked around. So I thought it was great.
Yeah. Well, Brooks did get one good shot in that game. It was the one to LeBron's groin that got him ejected. That was in game 3, though.
Game 3, 4. A little bit south of the border there. He was going for the ball. He wasn't trying. He was going for, but not the balls, but the ball. And he definitely, it was inadvertent. It was just blown out of proportion because of, Draymond Green stomping people, and seemed like there's been a couple shot to the groins during these series. But,
the talking is done now. Ja Morant and Dylan Brooks not talking to the media after their losses now. So.
Oh yeah. So yeah, you can talk.
You can talk when you win, but you can't talk when you lose.
Exactly. Maybe take a little bit of, etiquette from someone like, Aaron Rodgers, as we'll talk about later. I mean, how great he was to the fans and got out there and about the Green Bay fans and just doesn't cost you nothing to be nice, and you don't have to be a jerk all the time. And he maybe because he's shooting so poorly, the only one shooting worse than him is Russell Westbrook. He's shooting way below his averages during the season. I think he was in the 20s, field goal percentage. So horrible. He's not playing well, and now he's pouting after the games.
No. So now the Lakers only need 1 out of 3, and they advance.
Right.
Do they win Game 5, or do you think it goes 6?
It's already games in play, and they're already up by double digits. I think that Memphis is up by double digits, and I think that you'll kind of see that it's an urgent game. But closeout game. I predicted it in 6. I would love to see it in 5.
All right. Okay. 6 is what I'm going to say, and I think that's what we said at the beginning. Right.
Exactly what we did.
Okay. So I'm sure you want to talk about Sacramento Golden State next.
Absolutely. I think this is such a great series. Green stomping on Sabonis, getting a 1-game suspension because of his past. It should be just the act. Was the act worth a game suspension? I would say no, definitely. A guy grabs your foot, you're definitely going to stomp him. But the series is all tied up 2 apiece. De'Aaron Fox is moving into a major star in the NBA. He's a great fourth quarter player. Dropped 38. He's 38, 6 rebounds and 7 assists. All home teams have won during this series. As we talked about the Golden State problem on the road, they're going to have to win the series. They're going to have to win 1 game in Sacramento, and tonight will be the game. And I know that a lot of people are betting De'Aaron Fox does have a broken finger on his shooting hand. But he had that in the fourth quarter when he had his 38 points. So I don't see that being a problem. De'Aaron Fox is really becoming a star right before us. And I think this is going to be a great series. I think the Warriors have to get a game. But if you got the Kings +4 when they heard about the finger, you should have jumped on that right away. The home game and how good they are. I predicted a very, very close game.
Right. Well, Sacramento has lost 11 straight road playoff games, and we know how the Warriors have been playing on the road the entire year.
11-35.
Yeah. So it appears this one's going to go 7. You'd think both home teams would win going into Game 7, and that's what everybody wants to see.
But I think what we have to talk about is the Chris Webber moment by Stephen Curry. Calling timeout when you don't have any, when you have a 5-point lead, gives you a shot and the ball, and they end up making a 3-pointer, cutting the lead to 1 when you could have been up by 7. That could have been an astronomical mistake by Stephen Curry, because one of those things happen. When you say Chris Webber, what is the first thing you think of? Calling timeout and championship game against North Carolina. Everybody thinks of him. It's unfortunate. Bill Buckner, you're thinking the ball going between his legs, and Steph Curry could have had that, because if they'd went down 3-1, no way they're coming back. So he almost blew that by calling timeout.
Well, all the Kings had to do was just hit that last shot, and they would have won the game.
And it was great defense. They stepped up, played great defense, got the ball out of De'Aaron Fox's hands, which I would want De'Aaron Fox to shoot.
I believe shot that.
Right.
And 3-pointer.
It was way beyond the 3-point line too. It was not a good shot. But hey, all you needed was 2. I don't know why they wanted to shoot the 3. I think you drive in there, get hope for a foul.
And congrats to Sac's Mike Brown, the coach, first ever unanimous coach of the year. You could have got him at 80-1 for coach of the year before the season started. Wow. Everyone expected the Kings to completely suck, but no, they had a terrific year.
Well, he was a great assistant coach to Steve Kerr. They were joking in the fourth quarter to each other. Great friends, great companions, and it's good to see that kind of stuff happen. And couldn't happen to a better guy, because he's a really good coach, and he brought this team, out of the basement to be one of the most exciting teams in the NBA.
Okay, well, the winner of Game 5 and 2-2 series wins 82% of the series. So pivotal Game 5. In fact, Game 1 winners win 75%.
That's when it's 2-2, though, correct?
When it's 2-2,
exactly.
Yes, 82%.
Okay.
So I'm going to stick with my Sac and 7, of course. Why would I jump off that now?
Well, I went with Golden State in 7, so I think we'll be looking at Game 7 and having a great one. Let's see what happens tonight. Looking forward to a great series. It's been great all along. Steph Curry did pick it up. We're shooting some monster threes down the stretch to give him that victory.
Okay, we can talk a little bit about the series that are over. Phoenix won 4 out of 5 and took care of the LA Clippers. Of course, Kawhi Leonard was out. Paul George has been out for the Clippers.
And Russell Westbrook shot a 3 for 19, I think, for the game. And you're not going to win a closing game against those Suns. And let's talk about this. This talk is going to be a great. Denver Suns. They know they're playing each other. So
Denver beat Minnesota 4-1.
Right. So we'll talk about all. Joe, is it sink or swim? All 5 starters for the Suns are in double digits for the playoffs.
I'm going to have to say sink because you got 2 guys averaging like over 25 points a game, in fact. So I don't see where there's enough points for everybody.
Well, they score enough because obviously they can. That is a swim. Devin Booker's averaging 37, Kevin Durant 28. Torrey Craig's the one, 12 points. He's averaging 12 points. Chris Paul's averaging 13, and DeAndre Ayton's averaging 16. So all 5 of their starters are in double digits. Shows you how deep they are. But Kevin Durant, the one thing I look at, he is shooting 46% from the 3-point line. Joe, would you say I'll give you another sink or swim, let you, get back, see if you can get this one right. They have sink or swim, Joe, that Kevin Durant with that 46% is the highest among all 8 teams that are in the eight all starting playoff teams this year. Is that 46% the highest in the NBA playoffs?
They're 16 right now. You're I'm gonna say sink because there's got to be one that's doing even a little better.
Well, you're exactly right, because it's Torrey Craig right there on the same team. He's shooting 55% from the 3-point line. So that's amazing how well they're shooting. Maybe it talks a little bit about the Clippers defense, maybe. But they're all playing great. Devin Booker's averaging 37.2 games, 5 rebounds and 6 assists per game. So he's definitely getting it done. All-star, definitely. They were out first round last year. They're in this year, so they get to go.
Right. Suns won 4 straight in that series. 50-point third quarter in Game 4, 4th ever, over 50 in the history of the NBA. And Devin Booker and Durant, 25 points in each game.
Right.
Only Jerry West and Elgin Baylor ever did that in the series in 1968.
Well, the Suns are cooking for sure out there in the Valley of the Sun. And
you're going to pick Denver or Phoenix in this next one?
Well, let's go over some of Denver's stats. Okay, Joe, does Denver have all their starting 5 sink or swim with double digits?
I got to go sink again.
Well, you're wrong again, Joe, because I'm telling you right now that Djokovic is 20. Jokic is 26. Porter is averaging 13. Aaron Gordon's averaging 13, and Pope is averaging 10. And Jamal Murray is just killing it.
You're gonna have to start watching some more of this Denver.
Yeah, he's averaging 35. So they're good.
Pope guy has.
Yeah, he used to be on the Lakers, and he's a very, very good shooter. And Michael Porter, is averaging 16 points and 8 rebounds. So he's as their number 3 man. And I think you can't say enough about Aaron Gordon. He's averaging 13.7 rebounds. So he comes in when the Joker takes a little bit of a break, and he takes that the big guy roll over defensively. Played good. Minnesota was overmatched for sure. They were lucky to even get one. I called for a sweep. They won in 5, and Denver looked good for sure.
Right. Won that one game in overtime.
Right.
Okay. So you're going to make a pick for Phoenix or Denver? It might start.
I already had Denver when I started, so I'll stick with Denver. I'll stick with Denver. I picked them to go to the finals.
I'll say Denver in 6 for the heck of it.
Just they're playing so well right now. It's going to be a great series. And, like you said, everybody's shooting. They're very well coached, very well distributed, very good bench. Look for a great series out of those two.
All right. So let's move on to the Eastern Conference. What's been happening there?
Well, I think let's just talk about the biggest upset. Milwaukee was the favorite to win it all over all the teams in the playoffs. And they're down 3-1 to Jimmy Butler.
It's the only series I'm losing out of my picks.
Right.
Who would have taken Miami?
Well, Miami with Jimmy Butler, they could barely get into the play. They had to take 2 games to get into the play-in game. But Jimmy Butler's going off. He had 56 points in Game 4 at Milwaukee and got that win. Put him on his shoulders. I have 2 words to say to Milwaukee: double team. If you stop Butler, you stop Miami, and Butler's just they're calling him playoff Butler, and he's definitely living up to that.
In all fairness, Giannis for Milwaukee did get hurt in Game 1, came back Game 4. They've only won 1 of those games. So, if he was playing, it'd be a different story.
Well, Miami being at home and being up 2-1 in that series, and you got the points, and then they got it done, and you got that. I mean, they jumped out to a big lead. You knew they would. That's why the spread was so high at 8. And just Miami just knocked it down, knocked it out, kept close, and then Miami and Butler got it done, and now you're in a big hole there in Milwaukee.
Now you gotta hope they win in 7. That's my last chance.
Okay, exactly. Yeah, we said it was going to be a sweep, and we're going to have at least 6 games.
All right. So Boston, that was a huge comeback by Butler, by the way.
Right,
an amazing comeback, and Milwaukee really kind of screwed that end of that game up. But Boston's up 3-2 against Atlanta. They had their shot to close it out.
Yeah, you really thought they would have, huh?
They were 27-0, up 3-1 in series until last night.
Well, Trae Young went off. He surprised everybody in Game 5 in the Garden. Trae Young had 38 points, 13 assists. Both games he had 14 assists. In the prior game, he's averaging 29 points per game. And, he took a little offense when he got called the most overrated player voted by the players of the National Basketball League. So he got a little bit, you see a little chip on his shoulder, said, hey, overrate this. I'm going to go to the Garden and shock everybody. Yeah.
Yep. And we got DeJounte Murray was suspended for Game 5. It didn't seem to matter. Maybe that's why the Spurs got rid of him, kind of out of control a little bit sometimes. Right. So, they won anyway.
Right.
So pretty amazing comeback in that game too. Philadelphia swept Brooklyn 4-0. In fact, the only sweep in the NBA or the NHL.
Right. They were the only ones with brooms out there at Philly. So, yep, they definitely did.
And Embiid was out Joel Embiid was out Game 4. No big deal.
No big deal. And the one thing you got to look at how good that they're playing defense, because Philadelphia is they shot 121 to 101 in Game 1, went over. The next 3 games are all under against the spread. They didn't get to 100 points again. Brooklyn couldn't, and they won a couple 98, 96, 98, 88 games. Some very low scoring games. Very good. Shows you how good their defense is, and they're going to have to be reckoned with in their next round against Boston.
Well, it's going to be interesting because Philadelphia's last conference final, 2001. So this is where they usually stop right here.
Right. Well, the good thing is Embiid, like you said, was hurt, and he didn't play Game 4 as you said, and he got pretty much a whole nother week off to rest. So I think that's going to be huge for him.
And New York is up 3-1 against Cleveland. Cleveland number 1 D. 79 points they scored in Game 3 was the lowest any team has scored all season in a game.
Right.
Good
so
D,
we talk about
no.
Exactly. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. The Knicks, they're putting a spanking on them, up 3-1, winning Game 5. Jalen Bronson is averaging 24 points a game. But the stat I want you to look at is AJ Barrett and Julius Randle are both down on their averaging points per game, and they're still winning. So it shows you the Cleveland does play good defense. They're keeping Barrett and Randle down on their points. But unfortunately, their offense is down. And so and maybe we should talk about the Knicks' defense.
Yeah, they're showing up.
For sure.
So for some point spread numbers so far in the playoffs, best teams against the spread, Philly, New York, Miami, and the Lakers, they're 3 out of 4. During the regular season, the best teams were Philly, New York, Boston, Sacramento, and Denver in order. Playoffs, generally, all you have to do is just pick the winner of the game. That team will cover the spread. So far, winning teams 30, 40, and 1 against the spread. Although they just went 1-2 last night.
Right.
Last 175 playoff games, winners 159 and 16. So you're either going to get the favorite pulling away or the upset.
And with the big game, when we talked about the Suns, that was an 8-point spread, and they won by 7, and they were winning by 16 and late in the fourth, and they just kind of cruised it in and cost the spread for sure.
I know Denver did the same thing.
Right, exactly. They had a 1, but Denver looks good, and so does Phoenix. So I'm looking forward to that series, and we'll see what happens with these other ones.
Okay. As far as the overs and unders, equal as can be. 17 overs, 17 unders, 1 push. However, all 4 games in the Milwaukee series have gone over, and all 4 games in the Cleveland series have gone under. So that's the only real trend. Next round's important to note. If a road team wins Game 1 of a series, take the home team in Game 2. Home teams went 4-0 in the first round. in game 2 after losing game 1.
All right.
All right. Thank you
Good
to
stuff.
Butch the Butcher Roberts for those point
Absolutely.
spread stats. All right. So moving on now to hockey. National Hockey League playoffs. Just as far along as the NBA is, what's been going on in the East?
Well, let's just talk about those 3-1s that are both got 2 games, 3-1 comebacks. There's only 24 times out of 254 3-1s in the NHL. So that's 9% chance of winning, 90 point some chance of winning. And you only have a 9% chance to come back if you're down 3-1.
So we could start with Boston
We'll
then.
start with Boston. We'll start with the 3-1.
Yeah.
They're average of 4 goals a game. I thought they'd sweep them, but Florida got that 1 win. One stat I want you to look at, Joe, is that Florida's out shooting Boston 137 to 132 shots on goal. So they're putting the puck on the net, and the good things happen when you outshoot somebody.
Well, Florida actually plays Boston tough. They're the only team to beat Boston 3 times this year.
And when they only lost 11 games, and 3 of them were Florida, so that would have been a good
2 in the regular season, 1 in the playoffs.
Okay, all right.
Good enough. We got Carolina up 3-2 against the Islanders. Carolina blew a chance to clinch the series at home.
Right. They were up 3, they were up 3-1. They're at home. You think they'd get it done. The Islanders came back. So Joe, I'm going to say that the last team, give you one more sink or swim, 3-1. The last team to come back 3-1 was the New York Islanders.
No, I think that's happened since then. I think Boston came back against Toronto, and maybe Toronto came back against somebody else.
It was the Rangers last year. The Rangers were down 3-1. So New York was right, but New York Islanders was wrong. So it's very good on that, Joe. Good job.
Okay, well, we finally got one right.
Okay.
Oh, geez. All right. They were actually kind of lucky in game 2, Carolina, because they should have got a high sticking penalty, but the refs didn't see it, and they just kept on playing, and they scored the game-winning goal in overtime.
Yeah, it could be flipped around the other way.
It could have been.
Right.
They are getting some injuries, though. Teravainen, Svechnikov, Pacioretty, all out. Teravainen's got a broken hand. Svechnikov and Pacioretty, they're done for the season. Carolina's also lost 9 straight road playoff games. Hard to believe.
Right.
So still, I'm going to like Carolina in 7. Just figure home ice just goes all the way through.
Okay. Well, we'll see if the Islanders can get it done in game 6 to get there. But I like the Carolina. I like Carolina also.
Mm-hmm. Toronto is up 3-1.
Yeah, we wrote them off last week, didn't we? They lost that first game at Tampa Bay. Yeah. And then after that, they've been playing great. They've swept Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay.
They won both games in overtime.
And so, the Maple Leafs getting it done down there in sunny southern Florida. And, they tried to close it out at home Thursday. So I like Toronto. We talked about them having hard luck in the playoffs, and it's good.
Really, really hard luck.
Right. So Tampa Bay was the top of the Stanley Cup, for 2 years after, that was not last year, but the 2 previous years. So it looks like Toronto might have their number finally and get it done.
Well, if the last game they were down 4-1, if that means anything, they were down 4-1 and came back and won, and nobody saw that coming. I don't think.
Right.
But eventually bad things happen to Toronto. They haven't won a cup since 1967. Their last series win 2004. But they certainly have some great fans.
Yeah, they do. They come out, and it's great to see it. And 56 years is a long time for a victory, a Stanley Cup. So, yeah.
Even the Raptors, when they were playing in the play-in game, that place was packed.
Right.
So they are that was just for a play-in game. Oh my God! So I feel somehow it won't come easy for Toronto. I'm going to say Toronto in 7 because nothing comes easy for them.
Okay. Mm-hmm. We'll see if Tampa Bay can get that win, but I really do like the Leafs.
Well, Vasilevsky does not look good in goal for Tampa Bay, and the coach is trying to get him out and take him out of the game, and he's just not going to step off the ice.
He's not coming out.
He's not coming out, and he's trying to set this record that Martin Brodeur set for like 84 straight games where he never misses a minute. So
right.
It was like,
well, you only get one timeout, right? So you call timeout, you still couldn't get him out. And maybe you can call the Tampa Bay Police Department, maybe go out there and put a squad together to go get him off the ice. Maybe
that's what's been. So New Jersey, New York Rangers 2-2. Pretty interesting series here, huh?
Yeah, we talk about how much goals everybody's scoring, 4 and 4.7. This one is, Jersey's 1.7 goals per game. So I mean, they're playing great. We've seen some great defense. All the road teams have won,
right?
And
that happens in hockey sometimes.
Yeah, Igor Sheskirin he's got a beautiful 941 save percentage. So he's playing great in the goal. But we have to talk about this. Akira Schmidt.
Schmidt?
Yeah, Schmidt. He goes to Madison Square Garden and only gives up 1 goal in each of those games. He didn't play in game 1. They had Vitek Vanacek, yes.
Yeah.
And
gave up 5 goals.
Gave up 5 goals. Gave up, I think it was 9, wasn't it? Was it 5 and 4 in the first 2 games?
Might have been an empty netter in there.
Yeah, exactly. But still 9 goals given up. Crazy in truth. So they go and bring in the Switzerland from Bern, Switzerland, and he's playing great. See if he can get it done at home, get a home win, maybe.
Yep. Okay. Well, it's going to take a home win from somebody here. They're not going to make it.
I know, exactly.
Okay. So, Big Rich, what's up lately in the Western Conference?
Well, let's talk about the Knights. They dropped the first game, and everybody was like, "Here we go." There's the 8 seed that's going to upset the 1 seed, and Vegas just has been great. They have 2 overtime wins. Winnipeg was trailing 4-1, just like your other game. They were trailing 4-1, and the Jets scored 3 goals. Looked like they were going to, having a whiteout out there in Winnipeg. Looked like they were going to have the momentum and scoring that last goal with only 24 seconds left in the game, and they ended up losing in double overtime.
Yeah, that was a great game. How about game 1? The game Winnipeg won. Morgan Barron got a skate to the face, 75 stitches, and returned.
Exactly.
Because he's a hockey player.
He's a hockey player. John Morant would have been out for, I'm telling you, he'd have been out for, with his little...
The rest of the season.
Yeah, or, let's give maybe some basketball players a little bit of credit. We got Fox playing with a broken finger tonight, so...
Well, we got Jaylen Brown wearing a mask.
Right, exactly.
Well, he has to wear it because if he gets something broken again, that's going to mean surgery.
Right. So major has to protect himself.
But he doesn't look like a scarecrow like Morgan Barrow does.
Exactly. Man. Well, I mean, you just give Winnipeg, those fans are so good out there, and they had the whiteout. It was so great. Maybe they got if they can get back to another game over there, maybe they'll do a blue out or something. Just change it from the whiteout. You got to switch it up.
Well, NHL players, they just don't get paid enough. I don't.
75 stitches and you go back in the game. That's great. What a trooper.
Colorado and Seattle. That's your team, Colorado, 2-2.
Yeah, the Kraken, they're the first team since the 1918 Toronto, I don't know what they were called, but they're
could have been the Maroons.
I don't know what they were in 1918, but they've got their first 4 playoff games. They've got the first goal in all 4 of those games. They're the first team since 1918. So the Kraken are, they got their first home ice win, and they got their first playoff win.
Yep.
But I think the big part was when Kel McCarr got that it was interference, smashing him into the board. Was that Jared McCain? And, didn't even get a major penalty. It was a minor, and they end up suspending him for game 5. So it's pretty rough to get that suspended.
Because that's Seattle's leading scorer, and he is going to be out. So I think they just for 1 game anyway, at least. So I think they just try to even the score on that.
And the sad thing about it is you showed just poor hockey play. That was a shorthanded play. The Avalanche were in the power play during that. They give the puck up on a turnover, and then you get a penalty like this. Now you don't have Kel McCarr. And the Avalanche are also without Joe Johnson. They're out Landeskog and Vetchkin, and now they have Maker out. So they have some major players out from that championship team. Next man up for Colorado. They're going to have to get it done. They're going to go home to the Valley Center and see what happens.
Well, Seattle's played Colorado tough all regular season and playoffs, and they are 3-2-1 all time, all 6 games against Colorado.
Anton's playing really good though. I mean, he's had another power play goal yesterday or the last game, and he's playing good. He's become one of the better players in hockey, even with with Landeskog out and McKinnon, playing great, one of the better players on ice for sure. So anyway, we'll see what happens. That should look to be a good series, but I think that Avalanche will get it done.
Yeah, I think so. Colorado in 7. I got Vegas to close it out 4 in a row in the Winnipeg series. And Edmonton is up 3-2 against Los Angeles.
Right.
Last year Edmonton won Game 7 home against the Kings, and we're on our way again to something like that.
Right.
It's very even.
Very even. The two LA wins were both in overtime, so Edmonton had a chance to win all those games. So we'll see what happens. Edmonton looks good. They're definitely one of the higher powered offenses in the league, and I think they'll definitely get it done against the Kings.
Yeah, I got Edmonton in 7. They're 8 of 14 on the power play. That's
Pretty
super powerful.
That's super powerful and
pretty amazing. Don't make any penalties against Edmonton.
Right. Keep your stick down.
Yes. So if they advance, if they start their next series before our next show, Edmonton has lost 6 straight game 1s. So bet against them in game 1 and start taking them in game 2 and on.
There you go.
And Dallas is up 3-2 on Minnesota. Just another great series.
Well, these two, like you said, we've said before, they play each other a lot during the season. Dallas took a 3-2 after a 4-0 shutout. So Ottinger had 91.9% save percentage, and he only gives up 2.3 goals per game during the playoffs. So he's doing really good. Great series, 4-0. Dallas got it done. Got a home ice win. We'll see what they can do. They can close out game 6.
I hope they do. I'm going to predict it just because I want it to happen. But of course, that could easily go to game 7.
Right.
But no, the action's been amazing. As we said, no sweeps. The 5 goalie changes, that's been a surprise. 9 games have gone to overtime, a total of 11 overtimes. 14 of the 35 games decided by 1 goal. So
stay off that puck line.
Yes.
Stay off the puck line.
Yes. So anyway, but it's just a great sport to watch.
Right.
Toughness of, obviously we talked about that. Team efforts, just when they score a goal, just in the way they enjoy each other, so to speak.
Right.
It's beautiful to watch. And I
get to see the excitement out there. And I love the hockey playoffs. Also, the best thing they do is when they all shake hands after series is over. Tradition always out there. Both teams shake hands after it's over. So one of the best.
We haven't seen that happen yet, but we're maybe starting tonight.
Yeah, we're going to start getting somebody
so
moving
anyway,
on.
Enjoy the
Somebody's
game and
eventually. So.
got some Bruins. Got some squares. 3-3. So that would be the first one.
That would be the handshake. Right.
Okay.
Florida, you said they play them tough, and they continue to play them tough.
They sure do. So Big Rich, National Football League, they are conducting their draft starting tomorrow in Kansas City. Who's going to be picked where? I guess number 1.
I guess Bryce Young, I think, goes for sure to Carolina. They traded up. They know who they had. They can even say it right now. I mean, it doesn't really mean no surprise. I mean, they traded for the number 1 pick, so they should be able to tell us who they want already, get them signed up. I mean, maybe a little bit of the excitement. For sure.
Maybe they can get an offer they can't refuse.
Well, I don't know about that. I think they took the offer. They couldn't refuse when they took the number 1. They have a quarterback problem, with Baker Mayfield there last year and Sam Darnold, and they want to get a permanent quarterback there. And that Bryce Young's been a 5-star recruit out of Modern Day, California. When he got drafted, when he went to Alabama, Heisman Trophy winner, just an amazing football player. Alabama for sure has the talent, and hopefully can translate that to the NFL. But the number 2 pick, that's the one we got to look at. That's the one where you can see something might be happening. Because the defensive coach going to Houston has not made a move yet for a quarterback. So I think CJ Stroud goes 2, but I think that people are talking about Anderson. Well, Anderson maybe going number 2.
The linebacker.
The linebacker from Alabama, yeah. So
in late February, Stroud was the favorite to be the first pick.
Right.
Yes, you can actually bet on who's going to be the first pick or the second pick.
And we got some good information that you can get Levis. Levis at 100-1. He definitely has the arm, and some people say he resembles a Josh Allen type. Coming out of Wyoming, Josh Allen was picked, I think, 6th or 7th in that draft, and so maybe he might get a gem in there. I don't know.
I think Houston would be crazy not to pick CJ Stroud personally. If you're not sure about the quarterback, trade the pick and get some more picks, and you can still get Levis or Stroud. Down the line.
Really watch. I'm interested in watch the Colts. They're definitely in need of a quarterback, and also Tennessee. I think Tennessee makes a play for a quarterback too.
Perhaps the Raiders.
The Raiders, they got Garoppolo, so I don't know if they would do something like that. But
injury prone is the problem.
Injury prone is a big problem there, and
Well, I don't know. Houston, you want Davis Mills as your quarterback again next year? That's going to be another lost season.
I know.
And you'll still be looking for a quarterback next year. So what are you waiting for?
Well, I think because you notice they had incredible covering the spread. I mean, they lost a lot of close games last year, and you got to have a quarterback to get that game done. So I guess you do need a quarterback. That would be good.
Yeah. After that, who knows who's going to pick what? Really hard to predict. Teams are going to be lying. They're not going to be telling anybody what they're going to do.
Right.
And a trade could easily change the order anyway.
Absolutely. It usually does.
So, yeah.
Well, we talked about a little about Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets, changing from Lambeau Green to Gang Green out there in New York. Very, like we were talking about, very classy interview he did today. Thanking the Green Bay, his teammates, and the fans, of course. And, he was just a great quarterback for Green Bay for so long. I might be the best ever. You got some good Brett Favre, Bart Starr, but definitely in that ring of quarterbacks for sure.
Right. That was New York gets Rodgers, pick number 15 in the draft, and a fifth rounder. Green Bay gets pick number 13, second and sixth round picks, and a conditional 2024 second round pick that can become a first. Is that a little too much?
He has to play, I think, 60% of the games. Yeah, 65% of the games. Percent of the game, to get that. If he does get hurt, then they would get the second round pick instead of their first round pick. But I think the Jets. I think the Jets did really good. They didn't. I don't think they gave up that much. They still get one of their first round picks. Okay. They got Aaron Rodgers. They still pick a 15. That's 15 and 13. It's only 2 picks apart. And basically, it's the pick next year, which you're going to be giving up, and it might only be a second round pick. So
why wouldn't you just trade one first round pick for Rodgers? Boom, straight up.
They
made it a lot more complicated than it needed to be.
I think that they wanted just a little insurance policy in case he does get hurt. He is aging, but
39.
Right. So he is still
fairly old.
And there is rumors that Brady might be going to Miami. So he might be coming out of retirement again. That's just rumors. He didn't. He said he had a lot of good friends in Miami and he roots for them. That's kind of
Miami does not have a pick in the draft. I should mention. Because they were tampering when they tried to get Tom Brady in the first place and coach Sean Payton. So they got busted.
Yeah, for both of them. So, yeah.
They lost it. Maybe now they can get them without any problems.
Yeah, maybe you get compensated. That's for sure.
So I guess we're not the only guys who like to gamble. They're big rich. NFL players like to do it too, but they can get in trouble for it, right?
Yeah, and then gambling not even on the sport, so it shouldn't be an effect. It doesn't affect the I think the purity of the game at all. I don't think it affects the game at all. If you're not betting on, why can't you bet on baseball if you're a football player? No reason not to. I can see betting football. You might have some unfair advantages, have some little bit of inside information that the normal public doesn't have, but I can see it. Maybe they just are very strict about this because it could get very ugly.
It could get out of hand.
And there's signs everywhere: "Do not gamble." Everywhere, everywhere in the facilities, no gambling. In all, the NFL teams. So
the big name, Jameson Williams, Detroit's first round pick, the wide receiver last year. He's getting a 6-game suspension. He was mobile betting from the Lions' Allen Park facility, and the NFL said. Well, I don't know if it was the NFL, but his people, Alliance Sports, said that his online bet would have been allowed, except that he placed it at the facility. So what he did was really not against the rules. It's where he did it. That was the problem. No.
Leave your cell phone at home, man.
Just do all your gambling at home.
Exactly.
Please.
No in-playing at the stadium.
Okay. And Calvin Ridley was just reinstated, so it's like that was a 1-year suspension.
Well, Detroit's just everybody's so high on him right now. For next year, they were 100 to 1 odds last year to win Super Bowl, and I think they're like 25 or 28 right now. So
okay. And also Tua for Miami contemplated retiring, but because of concussions decided to come back, and I don't think there's any surprise there.
No. I mean, he's just definitely he's a winner for sure with Alabama, and he took some jiu-jitsu training to learn how to take hits, to learn how to fall down, how to fall and not get concussions. So
we can say quickly, XFL Division Championship Saturday and Sunday. Our colleague Gator Gates suggests taking the favorites, Houston -6, DC -3.5. They've been the best teams all year. I don't see why not. USFL. We've reached week 3. Rich, wouldn't it be more interesting? We brought back NFL Europe instead of this.
Yeah, I think so.
USFL to Europe. Those fans over there love their football.
They do.
Of course, we can't move the USFL to Europe because it's
had some good players coming out of that European League also. Yeah.
Absolutely. Or Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner. Yeah.
One of them. So Major League Baseball also in full swing. But the big news is about my beloved Oakland Athletics. What's the deal?
Well, they definitely bought land in Vegas. I don't know if it's going to be next year or the year after. I don't know if our producer can get that information for us. They're saying possibly 4 years. So it's tough to see Oakland now lost everything. They lost the Warriors, the Raiders, and now they lost the A's. And so they're going to build a nice stadium right next to Allegiant Stadium, and they're going to have good baseball.
Oh, nice retractable roof too.
Right. So it gets kind of hot sometimes. So kind of hot summer there. So they're going to have some nice air conditioning.
Don't blame the fans though. Its owner, John Fisher, he slashed the payroll and raised ticket prices. Now they're 5-19 and nobody's showing up to the games. Do you want to guess what the ERA for A's pitchers is right now?
I would say it's probably in 6.
7.89.
Okay. Wow.
It doesn't get much worse than that.
It doesn't get much worse pitching than that.
The attendance for the series against Cleveland this year, it was under 12,000. That was for the total 3-game series. So that's embarrassing.
That's embarrassing. And that's why you probably need to move to a different place. And I think it's just the locality of the land in California is just so expensive. It just
Vegas will have everything but basketball now.
So right.
That's good. All right. So how are the Tampa Bay Rays doing? Well, they've swept 5 teams. They're 20-4.
Right. And they just got beat by Houston. They had a 15 home game winning streak.
Right.
So they lost that. But I mean, if you're 20-4 to start your first 25 games, man, you're going to win 120. You're on pace.
You're on pace for
120 games, wins. So
home run in each of their first 22 games, and a nice catch by Wander Franco. That nice one-handed bare hand catch the other day. So.
Yeah, they're playing good, but else is playing good is the Pirates. We talked about them last week. They went 8-2 last 10, so they've continued, and they're beating up on the Dodgers today, so they're about ready to get another win. It'll be 9-1.
They don't have their stud shortstop.
But they're getting it done. And like you said, 8-2, they're first place in their division.
Okay.
And who's not the A's? They're 2-8, of course, with their ERA over 8.
Almost 8.
Right.
Hard to believe. I don't know if there's ever been one worse than that, but we'll probably find out as the season goes on.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, I mean, they're getting a new stadium. They're going to have some changes. So
right. Other good news, Atlanta starting pitcher Spencer Strider, 9 straight games, 9 or more strikeouts. That's 2 short of Nolan Ryan's record. And Monday, he ended up 5 outs short of throwing a perfect game. He set a major league record, reaching 200 strikeouts in 130 innings, beat out Randy Johnson. So this guy is somebody to bet on. So
okay.
I want to watch the Spencer Strider guy.
Spencer Strider. What team is that, Joe?
That's Atlanta.
Atlanta, right? So you got to look at that pitchers when you bet the Atlanta on that.
Exactly.
Spencer Strider.
Baltimore relief pitcher Yennier Cano faced 20 batters this season. He's got them all out. And best of all, White Sox relief pitcher Liam Hendricks. He's in remission from his cancer that we talked about. Bad news. Max Scherzer suspended for 10 days for having what they call goop on his glove.
They said it was rosin.
Rosin and sweat.
Sweat, yeah.
Yeah.
Goop is goop.
A lot of rosin.
Apparently. A lot of rosin or whatever. You got caught. Take your punishment. Roll on. So one other team is Kylan Jensen hasn't given up a run yet, and I think he's got 5 or 6 saves. So he's pitching for Boston this year. He's having a good start out there in Boston for Jensen.
Houston slugger Yordan Alvarez is out, as our Mets starting pitcher Carlos Carrasco and Giant pitcher Alex Wood. And Madison Bumgarner in Arizona, designated for assignment. Anyone can claim him, but it doesn't look like anybody's going to.
Well, the A's might be able to pick him up. Pitch right that bullpen, but right with him.
Yeah, the A's could probably use him. Maybe somebody might come and watch him play. Some old Giants fans.
Exactly.
And go across. Okay. Well, thank you to Rockin' Ronnie McKinnon for that information.
Good job, Ronnie.
All right. Last Sunday in NASCAR, Kyle Busch in a Chevrolet won at Talladega Super Speedway. Odds 15-1.
Right.
This week, the series moves on to Dover. Gator Gates, he's liking the Toyotas this week. So
Yeah, they're very, very good on short tracks. And Bubba Wallace was out in front. He was winning a lot of that race. And Blaney had a really good race, but Wallace did not want to give the lead up and ended up crashing himself. And so, sometimes it's better to take a third and let the guy get by you than crash out and don't get any points.
And finally, golf's Tiger Woods, another major appearance, another surgery. Masters taught him his ankle just wasn't right after all. He withdrew in the third round. So, of the Masters. So now it's time for those stories that we all hate, the stories that make us furious about bets we thought were going to be winners, but at the end, something went terribly wrong and they ended up being losers. It's a segment we call You Got Hosed.
You got hosed.
Well, we're going to go with my Denver. I'm going to start with Denver because I had the money line in game 3 and Djokovic, I think it was game 4. Was it game 3 or 4? It was 3, and he was shooting free throws, and they were down by 1, shooting 2 free throws to give him the lead with under 10 seconds left, and you got to win. And Djokovic missed the first one, so it goes to overtime. They lose in overtime. So that was the one win for Minnesota, and I felt horrible because I thought for sure I had it when he was shooting his free throws, and they came back. They came back with 12 under 3 minutes, and they thought they had all the momentum. So it was game 4. And they could have had the sweep and could have closed it out. Could
have closed it out. Minnesota hung in there, got that overtime win, and actually played pretty well in game 5. Didn't quite get it done. Decent series for them, though. So my host story this week, it's a beauty. It was the under 5.5 goals, game 3, Carolina, New York Islanders. The score was 1-1 with 4 minutes left. There's no way you could possibly lose that bet, right? So the Islanders score a goal, about 3:50 left. Still safe. Well, and New York scores 44 seconds later, 3-1. Okay, still pretty safe. Right, 5.5. Carolina pulls a goaltender, of course, extra attacker. Of course, Islanders score empty net, 4-1. Okay, that's it, right? No, the Hurricanes put their goaltender back in the net. That should do it.
Right.
New York can call off the Dogs. But no, they score again with 1:33 left, even with the goaltender in for good measure. The Islanders scored 4 goals in 2 minutes and 18 seconds, breaking a playoff record that stood for 79 years. Anyone that had the under 5.5 in game 3 got unbelievably hosed by half a goal.
You said a beauty, and that is a beauty.
It's unbelievable.
2 minutes left and you lose the game. Can't believe it. 4 goals.
Yep.
You got hosed.
Well, that's it for the show. I'd like to thank Big Richard Martin, Gator Gates, all our contributors, our editor, producer, and engineer, Cornelius, and our studio audience, Brenda, and all you listeners out there. And, of course, our contributors, Rockin, Ronnie, McKinnon, and Gator Gates.
Right. We're hoping to have Gator back next week.
We're hopefully having Gator back on the show as our normal colleague. And next week, we look forward to bringing you another episode of Covering the Field.
You've been listening to Covering the Field. Email us at coveringthefield@gmail.com for all your comments or questions. Find us on Twitter @CoveringField. And of course, always check out the website for our picks of the week and updated articles. coveringthefield.com.